February 18th, 2025. This is my review of reading Leviticus chapters 7 and 8 of reading the Bible in a year chronologically. Boy, oh boy, this is kind of cool. In Leviticus 7, we get to instructions for the guilt offering. And it says the guilt offering is the most holy. That's interesting. The guilt, remember we learned about, yesterday we read about the guilt offering, what it takes, or what sins require a guilt offering. It's not just sin, it's sin against other people. It's cheating, it's lying, it's kind of those white-collar crimes in a way, I guess. Lie while telling the truth, steal or committing fraud, find lost property and lie about it. That's what it takes for the guilt offering. But that is, the offering for that is the most holy. It also says that it is the same instructions apply to both the guilt offering and the sin offering. Both those belong to the priest who uses them to purify someone, making that person right with the Lord. So the sin and guilt, think about that for a minute. What the sin and guilt offerings, what it took to pay the price for sin, for guilt. Guilt would be sin against a fellow man, right? That's the way I'm kind of reading that. Sin is against the Lord. Think back or forward into where David says he gets caught up with Bathsheba and he murders Bathsheba's husband, and his comment is, "I have sinned against the Lord and the Lord only." You would think that he also sinned against a person, but his real sin was against the Lord and not being obedient. And here we see the guilt offering as sin against others. I find that interesting anyway. Then we have the further instructions for the peace offering. This is another thing that struck out to me, that the offerings were to be burnt on the altar, some of it, but the rest of it was for eating during that time. And if any of the meat from the peace offering is eaten on the third day, the person who presented it will not be accepted by the Lord. That's interesting. The third day. We see the third day here, and we see the third day with Jesus. He was risen on the third day. So that time of peace between there, that the third day, there's some correlation there that's a shadow of what's to come with Jesus. It points to Jesus, that third day. But it's interesting that it can't be eaten, or else it doesn't count. Or it doesn't count if it's eaten on the third day, that peace offering. So that was intriguing to me and interesting in that pointing to Jesus. And then we get into the ordination of priests, what it takes to be an ordained priest at that time. It's sacrifice, it's ceremony. There's a lot that has to happen, and it's work, and it's in front of everybody, and that's what it takes. Jesus is our high priest. Jesus is all of that. He's already done the ceremony. He is the ceremony. And the priests and the Sadducees and the Pharisees of the days of him didn't see that. They only knew this. They only knew what the scriptures told them to do, what Moses had said. But Jesus already fulfilled all that. He was the sacrifice. He made the ultimate preparations for everything. But back then, before Jesus, a priest had to be ordained in such a way. And so thankful we don't have to go through all that now. And that Jesus is our ultimate sacrifice. All of this, all that we're reading now, points to Jesus and what he's coming. So that's the lens that I'm looking at it from, and that's my thoughts for the day. But seek him, seek God, know him, know what he's done for us. The sacrifices that he made that used to be by an animal, it's done once and for all.